Our life is a collection of small habits. That collection of habits can either work for us or against us. We have the ability to shape our habits and form a system that can ultimately benefit us. If you really want to take control of the narrative of your life, then it begins by looking at those small habits and tweaking them so that you can move in the direction that you really want to go. Our habits, believe it or not, actually shape our identity. For instance, if you get up and you make your bed in the morning, then you embody the identity of someone who's very organized. Similarly, if you get up and brush your teeth, then you're identifying as someone who's got good levels of cleanliness. Each habit or each action is like a kind of like a vote for the type of person that you want to be. And the more times we reiterate these actions, the more closely we line up with our ideal self. As Bhakti yogis, the goal is actually to identify as a spark of consciousness, part of a greater consciousness. So in other words, we try to identify as the consciousness within the body and not the body itself. By identifying as a conscious spark, as opposed to a body, then we can start to see all other living entities as similar sparks of consciousness, and thus we can treat them with love, respect, humility and kindness. We've all found ourselves doing things that we know we probably shouldn't be doing, but we've just started doing them as like an automatic response. So if we can identify and then alter the way that we respond to these different stimulus in our environment, maybe they're internal or external stimulus, then we can start to change the course of our life and move in the direction that we want to go. Oftentimes our bad habits can give us a short-term relief from an external problem, but they could end up hurting us in the long run. For instance, we may feel depressed or anxious, and we reach out to some junk food or some type of intoxication to help us get relief. But ultimately, in the long run, when we take shelter of these temporary fixes, they can end up possibly giving us more anxiety and more depression, which was the very reason we started using them in the first place. So good habits tend to be a little bit more difficult to develop in the short term, but in the long term, the benefits are much greater. So like a really practical thing that anyone could do is you get a piece of paper and a pen, and you just write down every habit that you can possibly think of that makes up your day. So the way that we react to different things, what time we wake up, how much time we spend on our phone, it could be anything. So once you've got that list, you go through it and you put a plus next to the things that are serving you and a minus next to the things that maybe aren't serving you. And in this way, you've got a really clear visual of all of the different good and bad habits that make up your day. And you can begin to tweak it, and you can begin to develop a system of habits that best serves you and best moves you in the direction that you want to go.